theater and canteen. This is cool. I mean, I don't want to tell you how old I am, but I miss drive-in theaters for the right reasons, I hope. 4 high-tech screens with 2 full features every night for one low price. Fast casual dining and open-air pavilion, cornhole games, children's playground, and an 18-hole miniature golf course. It's all at the outlet shops of Grand River, with more than 70 outlets and factory stores. And soon, the best drive-in theater in the South. That's the outlet shops at Grand River. The screens are up, by the way. If you go by there, you see them on your way out of here. If you go out on I-20, you get a look at those super screens. What fun. These people, that's thinking, folks. That sounds like a great, great time. So we want to just remind you there's lots going on. And by the way, if you have car problems while you're here, AAA Alabama is going to be on site from noon until 1 hour after the race. If you left your lights on, if you did something, your car won't start, you got a flat tire. We're going to go down to Jeff Leppert down on the starting row down there. Jeff, you ready?
Absolutely. I hope everybody's ready here for Barber Motorsports Park, presented by Porsche, the Pirelli World Challenge GTS Round number 6, as we get set to start this 50-minute sprint race from a standing start here on the front row. And let's quickly go get a word with your pole sitter, Jade Buford, in the Sin R1 GT4, starting from pole today. He won the race yesterday. We're going to try to sneak the microphone in here through the window, try to see if we can get a word with him. Jade, you got the win yesterday. Any chance that you might be able to make this number 2 for today?
Yeah, we're going to try. Car's great. Team has worked really hard. So we're just going to go out and do the best job we can do and try to have a clean race, and hopefully we end up back up on top again.
A little tight getting through in these GT4 cars, but good job there by Jay Buford. He had a great run yesterday in trying conditions. It was weather, there was rain, there was lightning in the area. The race was red flagged 10 minutes before the checkered flag, and it was called as an official race. Jay Buford, your winner. Lawson Aschenbach, second place in his Black Dog Speed Shop Team Chevy Camaro. He'll start from that position today. And in third place in the SDR Motorsports Lotus Evora, Scott Dollahite finished third. He starts third today. Just a few more minutes here till we get our 3-minute board, and we will get the command to start engines underway. There it is. We do need to clear the grid of all non-essential personnel. Please clear the grid of all non-essential personnel. Fans, I want to welcome everybody to world-challenge.com. That's our web app. If you go to world-challenge.com, you can watch this race live on your Android or iPhone. Those of you that are sitting at home watching us worldwide, we want to say welcome to our live web stream here. Greg Creamer and Calvin Fish will be calling all the action. I'll be on pit lane. Make sure you tune in May 7th at 1 p.m. Eastern to CBS Sports Network for this race broadcast for round number 5 and round number 6 of our GTS category. Stick around later today for our GT, GTA, and GT Cup class race. You will see that live at world-challenge.com as well as motortrendondemand.com for those subscribers. Please check out all things motorsports at motortrendondemand.com. Thanks, Brian. I think you can do it again. All right. The sun's a little different, so they wanted to do another one. And remember, fans, here for our GTS category, this will be a standing start. All 23 cars here today lined up on the start-finish straight. When the red lights go on, they go out. We go green for 50 minutes. We got about 1 minute here until we give the command to start engines. Once again, tune your phone to world-challenge.com. Welcome to all of our web stream listeners as well. Some other notables through the field. Watch for two-time winner this season at the St. Petersburg Grand Prix, Jack Roush Jr. in his Roush Road Racing Performance Ford Mustang Boss 302S. And Brett Sandberg in his KTM Crossbow from Anza Motorsports. lined up back there on the 5th row on the outside, having problems with that car today. Well, to give our command for the most famous words in all of motorsports, Motorsports Manager of Pirelli World Challenge from Ford Performance, Brian Novak.
So for our friends at Optima Battery and Pirelli Tire, and on behalf of Ford Motor Company and everyone at Ford Performance, drivers, start your engines!
All right, Greg and Cal, there's the call. Let's go racing.
Looking at the front of the grid, and they just gave the command to start the engines here for this 6th round of the Pirelli World Challenge GTS Championship. So we're going to start our TV show coverage. Wow, absolutely great sound, and a one that's been different than in past years with the sound of these GT4 cars and that beautiful Cadillac ATS-V pace car. Great partner they are. Leads this field out. Now today, Cal, it will be simply an installation lap because second to the doubleheader rounds, it's a standing start.
Yeah, and it's always spectacular. And I tell you what, these drivers are pumped up. Driving in this facility today, there's no prettier place in terms of motorsport racetrack. And then you get these conditions. It was varied conditions yesterday. It's going to be a dry racetrack. It should be a lot more consistent in terms of the performance of the car.
Yeah, it's like running through an interior designer living room at serious speed here. This place is phenomenal, and a big expansion coming to the museum now to house a huge car collection as well as the world's largest motorcycle collection. And today, these are the cars we're going to be watching as they get set to do battle here for this, again, 6th round of the championship. And we want to say a big thanks to Cadillac as well for the beautiful Escalade that is the safety and response vehicle. Again, they are such a great partner. We're going to step away for just a minute. We'll be right back to set the stage and watch that standing start. And again, we're going to be dipping out right before the field gets to that last corner, and then we'll get back to some TV coverage here. I think it's going to be interesting watching those Ginettas, especially the two in the hands of Gottsacker and Chase. Both of them are committed to doing some global rallycross, Cal, but the team said if Parker, who's well up in the points, could exit here seriously in the championship hunt, they might change those plans.
Yeah, it's difficult. I think Parker's going to run in 3 different championships this
Exactly.
year, and it's great for him at his age to be getting that type of experience. We've seen that with guys like Austin Cindric, who'll run here later today in the GT race. But it's tough. I mean, if you're running at the front of the points in either one, it's hard to make that decision. But certainly today, he's going to be focused on trying to get back on the podium. Had a couple of podium runs so far this year. I think one thing to look out for this standing start, Greg, is these traction control systems. Who's got those dialed in for a standing start with the launch control and stuff? Sometimes it's better just to switch them off and let the driver do the work rather than have them be too disruptive and stall.
Welcome back to the Barber Motorsports Park Grand Prix presented by Porsche here. 6th round of the GTS Championship. Field making its way out of the last turn and coming up to set the stage for the standing start. Interesting mix here. GT4 cars, GTS machines, and we also have a great mix of cameras. It is time for our Kia Quad Box presented by Replay XD. And this is a look at some of the views you're going to be able to see today. And this is going to be fun to watch. Standing start, GT4 based car on the pole alongside a GTS Camaro. You can see the difference in the ride heights, difference in the platforms, but we know it's going to be fun down into turn 1. As always, the wheel and lights come on when they go out. That is when this race starts. 50 minutes of competition here. Sounds like they're up on the revs. There's the green flag. We are ready to go, folks. At the back of the grid, it's a clear field. Lights are on. Watch for it when they go out. We're racing. Here we go. Oh, and a huge start by Dolahut. Yeah,
look at it. Paul Sitter has stalled. We talked about it at the TC.
Yes.
He just tried to launch there, didn't move. Everyone's missed him.
That's the good fortune, but boy, does he have a tough job now, and Lawson Aschenbach cannot be believing his good fortune. He needed to get out front and check out if he can.
Well, he had a terrible rolling start here yesterday. He said he was going to make amends today, and he's certainly done that. So he's put a gap on Scott Dollarhide, who did a great job in avoiding our pole sitter, Jade Buford, who got stalled there on the start line.
Yeah, and it is huge, isn't it, for Lawson to have some clear track here and just be able to build the margin, because you know he's going to start backing up at some point.
Absolutely, and for the second sin in the field, Scott Heckert, he had a poor start as well. And we're going to a full course yellow here, possibly for Jake Buford's machine.
Yeah, if they can't get it to go, so, I mean, obviously that's more maybe than a stall, possibly.
Wonder if he broke something in the drive line. You saw the car launch and then just didn't have any momentum to take it any further, so
that's
he's
good.
away.
He just needed a pull start. All right, he is on his way. He'll get to the back of the field now. They're under the caution. He cannot.
I think that was a spin there with a 16 car.
Oh boy, that's Allen.
I think maybe all the traffic stacked up there with some guys seeing the yellow, and maybe he was caught unawares. He's back racing again, so I don't think he realizes we're under full course yellow.
Yeah, that could be, and if he doesn't, that could be problematic. And after that spin, he cannot. All right, well, they're bringing the entire field into the pits. But here's a look at it, Cal, from a slightly different angle.
Yeah, we talked about these TC systems, the traction control. He goes there, just stalls it. Great move there by Scott Dollarhide to get around. That was really close there with one of the Mustangs as well.
Boy, and Clennon did a nice job getting around Scott Heckert in the Team 54 Sin R1 that was a little slow to get away.
I think what may have happened, maybe the pace car, the safety vehicle, was aware there was a problem on the front straightaway, so they'd given the instruction to take them through pit lane.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. They maybe didn't get word quite quick enough that Buford was able to get the bump start and then continue.
Well, Lawson Aschenbach, our championship leader after that podium run here yesterday, will be pleased that Sin has got a lot of work to do. Buford has stayed on the lead lap, which is important, and he's got a lot of pace, but this is a very competitive field to try and drive through.
And this will be now a single file restart, obviously, and they'll get into that VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone. Let's take a look and see what may have happened with John Allen coming down the hill here.
Oh boy, he nearly got into the back of, I think it was Martin Barkey.
Indeed.
And took evasive action, and tires are still relatively cold. First lap.
That gets
Quick
everybody's
spin.
heart pumping. if you weren't ready to go racing, you certainly are now. Race control just confirming back to green this time by. So we'll be coming into that VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone, and the new rule says that when the pace car pulls in and off track, you're in the zone, and then the leader, once he gets about to the apex, if he wants, at that last turn, he can go.
Well, importantly for Jade Buford, who's going to be at the back of this pack, he can actually start to overtake cars before that final corner. Once you hear green, and the track is green, you can go racing.
So that's a good opportunity for him, and his teammate Heckert said, I'm loving what I'm doing, and he said, but look at my background, and he said, ABS, aero, this is all new to me.
But he loves road courses. You mentioned 4 wins in the K&N East Series, 2 at the Glen, 1 at VIR. He's very comfortable here. Did a great job qualifying on the second row yesterday and finishing 4th.
And there is Jay trying to make up some ground here. Boy, and for him chasing the field, his tires might be up in temp just beautifully.
Those Pirelli P0s are going to have more temp than the guys who have been doing this 50, 55 mile an hour speed restriction behind the pace car. So here we go.
Yep, pace car's made its escape into the pits. It's up to Lawson now. And that is the final turn, the left-hander, and he's picked it up already. And you can hear it, that V8, he is on the hammer. And it looks to me like Parker Chase got a tremendous run on Dollarhide. See if he's able to do anything down into turn 1. Not quite enough. Dollarhide takes that Lotus in nice and deep. And Ernie Francis thinking about it on Heckert.
Yeah, that turn 1 area, particularly off a restart, you're basically going to almost go through there flat out with the downforce that these GT4 cars develop. At full racing speed, there might be a slight touch of the brakes down a gear, but certainly on a restart when you're just accelerating from a low speed. But you can see Dollarhide, he's got some speed in that Lotus. He's going to try and chase down our leader.
Oh, look at Brett Sandberg, who has had just a tough weekend and really struggled even in yesterday's race. Making up some speed, and Barkey is off. It doesn't look like, well, maybe he did. I wonder if he got the end of that tire bundle.
Yeah, I'm not sure if those skid marks are here, so he may have got into the tail end of the tire wall there. Great battle here between the two Ginettas, Parker Chase and Harry Gottsacker for the third position.
Oh, boy, look at that move. Power move there by Hecker. Just drove around Clennon, exiting that turn. That was just a matter of that Sin having great exit speed.
Sandberg, a man on the move. From 10th on the grid, he's up to the 6th position. Just had a terrible weekend, had some electrical glitches in the car, lost all of practice effectively, and just made a huge setup change last night in between the two races here this weekend to just try and find something and try not to see that lead expanded that now belongs to Lawson Oschenbach in the championship.
Yeah, that crossbow, all 4 of them running here got a factory upgrade with the rear clip with some transmission mount changes. They were having a little issue with that, and certainly still awfully quick.
Look at this train of cars. Jack Roush Jr. probing, looking for a way by Ernie Francis Jr. The two Mustang drivers going hard at it here. This is for the 8th and 9th positions right now. Jack Roush off that sweep of both rounds at St. Petersburg.
Yeah, that brought him back into play points-wise. Ooh, Ernie off the wide there, and Roush too.
He's going to try and make a move down towards our stop-tech braking zone. He looks to the inside, but Ernie Francis, one of the most aggressive drivers in this field. We're under caution in this corner. He's got to be careful.
I think you realized that,
Yep.
Saw that yellow waving, and did the exact right thing, checked up just a little bit, and now settles back in and will try and remount his attack. And coming up, hard as stern, the number 14 of Nate Stacy. But here is Lawson Oschenbach, who is having the exact race he wants. He is out front trying to build some margin, and we're going to step away for just a moment here, and we will be back to Barber. All right, back with you on our global webcast and here at the track. And I think this battle right here between Ernie and that Ford. Ooh, some smoke,
John
contact.
Allen again, I think.
Oh, man, yep. And looked like somebody, there was some contact as well,
wasn't
wasn't
there? Bodywork flying there. Heated a little battle there.
Yeah. And this weekend, he's got no less than Jack Baldwin, who, of course, has driven Caymans to a lot of wins and near championships in GTS here, helping with the coaching. You know, but it was a very different day yesterday than today. But it's still cool in the morning, and you wonder if people are really quite with that program here as we are watching the fight through the pack by Jade Buford coming up in the back of Dora Chaponic.
Yeah, he's making some nice moves, and he's got through, obviously. But, you know, the key is he's just got to keep some tires underneath him as well. If we do get a reset with another caution potentially later in the race, and he's up at that front end of the pack, he needs some car underneath him at that point as well.
We're getting a report that the reason that the number 80 of Martin Barkey went off track is he got a little help maybe from Aline Cipriani making her debut in the Pirelli World Challenge this weekend from Sao Paulo, Brazil. And a Brazilian endurance champion, and the FARA, it's a Southern Florida Club Endurance Series. She's had a couple championships there, but a big step for her here. She's certainly willing to go fast, we know that, but apparently a little contact, it's under review.
Yeah, she's a nice young lady. We had a chance to chat to her yesterday, and she's very excited about this bump up. Oh, look at Jack Roush Jr. He's looking to the inside. That's tough there. It's a really high-speed entry to that chicane area.
Oh, Ernie just twitching like mad. Definitely feeling the heat from the very quick Jack Roush. Nice to see Jack have that confidence this year and have that speed, and he's certainly capable there. Welcome back to the Barber Motorsports Grand Prix presented by Porsche here at this absolutely beautiful facility. And Lawson Oschenbach in the Black Dog Chevrolet Camaro. A little bit of a margin he's starting to build now, up to over a second over Scott Dullahite. And you got to think right now, Cal, that Oschenbach's best friend is going to be Parker Chase, who is going to come up and start hounding Dullahite, hopefully slow him down.
Yeah, you hope that he'd get into a battle with him and take the pressure off the leader. But Scott Heckert's a man on the move. He didn't have a great standing start either in the second of the Sin entries. But he's now up to fourth. He's got around Harry Gottsack and got a lot of speed in the car right now.
And willing to throw it around just a little bit. And another great run here by Mark Clennon. He had a great start. He's still sitting right there in the top six. And here
Heckert to
he
the
goes.
inside. Parker Chase takes him in deep. That was great racing. Really close.
One thing we know about Parker Chase, when it comes to a braking zone, he'll go to the absolute limit. It paid off for him there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough for him to keep that Sin behind him, though. Scott's certainly showing a lot of pace, and Jake Buford continues to make some progress through the middle part of this field, but still a long way to go. Buford up to the 14th position right now.
This is a great section of track down there. Then that climb. Use every bit of curve there to really be quick through that section. That's got to be a little unsettling for people that aren't too comfortable with that.
Well, you got to get the suspension set up to deal with that. When you're trying to use those curbs, it can really be an advantage through the chicane areas. And as you mentioned, some of these GT4 platforms are a lot more stiffly sprung than, say, the Mustang or the Camaros in the field.
By the way, watching the 45 there, they're determining what to do about that contact with the 8-0 and the 5-5. But the number 45 here is continuing a good move up through the pack, now up into 14th.
And his best time is a 1:30.3 compared to the leaders running in the low 31 rate. So Buford has tremendous speed, but still a long way to go to get to the front of the pack today.
And it happened, as you suggested, Scott Heckert able to sneak around Parker Chase. And boy, with the pace that we're seeing from those Sinar 1s, I would expect him to run up onto Dullahite relatively quickly.
I think so, and I think he may, in fact, have enough to actually get towards our lead as well.
Problem there for...
Is that Sandberg?
No, it's Dora Chaponic.
Okay, it's the sister car from Ansa.
Yeah.
Hasn't been a great weekend for those guys. They did a motor change, had the motor out of Brett Sandberg's car and came here and it wouldn't run. Lost the best part of Thursday in terms of the testing. That really got them on the back foot in terms of the setup for this racetrack. Threw a setup at it last night, and Sandberg at least seems to have a little bit more pace, but he's still down in the 7th position. When you're losing the championship lead to Lawson last night, you don't want to see him gain a bundle of points again today.
Speaking of Lawson, there is his teammate and the Black Dog team owner. That is Tony Gaples, and he is your Optima Batteries Best Standing Start Award winner, up 5 spots on the opening lap. I've always called him the great overtaker, the pass master. He gets it done during racing, no question.
He's awesome in race conditions, and what an awesome team he has built there. They go for their 4th straight GTS championship, 2 with Lawson and 1 with Michael Cooper a couple of years ago.
And up and over the rise. There goes Lawson as he continues to try and build that little bit of a margin here. And you know he's driving as fast as he possibly can, Cal, without taking anything out of those tires.
Yeah, he's looking super smooth right now. He realizes there's a long way to go in this race, and he can see in his mirrors that Lotus is still there, and he can see that bright red sin as Scott Heckert is coming hard.
And great variety at the top of the field. It's Aschenbach leading in the Camaro, Dullahite second in the Lotus, and Heckert completing your podium at this stage in the Sinar 1. We will be right back to Barber Motorsports Park. Don't go anywhere. This is just getting fierce. And back on the web here as we continue to follow the action. Sandberg now coming up on the back of Clennon. I believe that's Clennon, so...
Yes.
Yeah. That's a good run for Brett Sandberg. He must be feeling awfully good to know that we finally have some speed in this car.
Well, it's just one of those weekends. You got to look at the big picture. You basically go into damage control. If you don't have the pace or you've been having problems, you can't get too frustrated and throw it all away. Just try and maximize the points you have. And his teammate hits pit lane. So more problems there for the Ansa Motorsport team.
Yeah, and Dore, we saw him at the start of the season. He was very quick. Actually,
really
was one
quick.
of the fast qualifiers. They had a little tech issue. But he just has not been anywhere this weekend as well. So obviously some struggles. Back to this battle here between the teammates. The newly appointed Ginetta factory driver, Parker Chase, in that orange number 19, and Harry Gottsacker. And I'll tell you, Harry Gottsacker, this is an amazing story. He's only been racing cars last year, and it was some Spec Miata stuff. Alec Udell, who works very closely with these young drivers coming up out of Texas, went with him last weekend to VIR, to an SCCA Majors event, to help get and arrange his SCCA provisional pro racing license so he could make his start here. Oh, this battle for thirds right there. I mean, Heckert didn't take him much time, did it?
No, it didn't. I mean, he's got more pace in that car now. He's just got to show poise and patience here and making that move, because there's a long way to go. 35 minutes plus on the board here. He can potentially run down our leader because he's really not getting away. I think Lawson's pacing himself, just trying not to take too much out of his tires at this stage of the game.
It's going to be interesting here, isn't it, to see what Heckert's racecraft is going to be here. He certainly has the speed, so it's interesting here. A great battle for second is starting to build here at Barber Motorsports Park at the Grand Prix presented by Porsche. And Scott Heckert had closed right up on the back of Dullahite in that black Lotus. But they just came over a curb, Cal, right before we came back. Loosened Heckert up just a little bit, and he lost a little bit of margin. But he's got speed, and I think it's going to be long before he's going to be right back on the tail wing there of that Lotus.
Yeah, the cars looked really good, but I saw also, Greg, he did look a little bit loose there and struggling with grip there through the turn 14 area. It's a tricky corner, that one, right before the pit entry that you've got to get right, and the Lotus is certainly performing well. Talking to Scott Dullahite this weekend, he said the Lotus is really good in the compression areas, but look at that sin under braking. Really closes the gap down into our stock tech braking zone.
Well, the one thing that I'm interested about here, Cal, is we know Heckert now has the speed, but what about his racecraft?
Well, we don't know. I mean, this is the exciting thing about the new combinations. He looks to the inside on the run to 6. He's going to make it stick.
Oh, got in there absolutely clean, didn't he?
Well, that answers the question. That was sweet. A nice move. But that's been what's fascinating about this year, the unpredictability of the championship and the class. So many new cars this year with the GT4 platform, new drivers weekly. We've got a handful of new drivers here in the series just this weekend at Barber Motorsport Park.
Yeah, I mean, you know, for the officials, for the teams, for the drivers, for the announcers, still a steep learning curve on who's doing what. Now, it'll be interesting to see if Dullahite can just stay with him if he's got an answer here, and it looks like he might.
The last lap, it looked like Heckert was struggling through this area of the racetrack. He's cleaned it up a little bit. He just needs to get a good clean shot on this straightaway, take the pressure off down into turn 1. And I think once he can clear there, maybe gap wide, and he seems to stretch it a little bit there. You see that power of that Chevy motor down this front straightaway, 6.2 liter LS3 motor in that Sin chassis.
And coming up now, it is Parker Chase. He has caught Dullahite, and this battle continues to be fascinating. That's for 8th, Ernie Francis in the black Breathless Performance Camaro, and Mustang, and Jack Roush in the red Roush Road Racing Performance Mustang, and these two guys are just after it.
Well, you could see mud flying from underneath Jack Roush's car, so I think he's been using the grass and wood to try and get by Ernie Francis, but a very spirited duel right there. Here comes Buford, though. He is now making that move on Nate Stacey. He's now up into the top 10.
Yeah, and I think he may have given Nate a little tap a couple of corners before that. And now he's doing, look at Roush now trying to square it up, coming out of that diamond, that corner a little bit, Cal. Didn't quite work, but he has thrown everything at this he can.
Yeah, this has the potential to get ugly here because Jack Roush Jr. realizes he's now a real factor in this championship, coming off that double win at St. Petersburg. And I think he's got a little bit more pace in his car than Ernie Francis, but Ernie is a great racer. He doesn't want to give it up. But look at Buford, now right on their tail. And I think if Buford can make a few more moves, and then if we should get a caution, he could still be a factor for a podium here today.
Well, I mean, he certainly has the speed, no question. There's then Stacey now feeling the heat from behind him. That is Anthony Mantella, who's moving up as well. So good running up front. It is still Aschenbach, and that battle behind him is giving him a little margin. We're going to go on board now as he's carrying our Eibach suspension cam. And even though this track is smooth, Cal, those curbs aren't, and he uses them.
He really does. He works hard with his engineer Ryan McCarthy to get this Camaro set up well. And you can see the Eibach suspension performing perfectly right now. He's got the lead, but he's controlling it. The gap between he and Scott Heckert right now is right around 2.5 seconds. Fast laps of the day. Scott Heckert has been 4/10 quicker than Aschenbach, so there's some potential here for him to close that gap down.
Yeah, you wonder if he's got his eye in that mirror just a little bit, but now he seems to have cleared Dullahite. So before that battle builds perhaps for the lead, we're going to step away quickly here. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. And we're back with everybody here on our global webcast and at the track. And Buford now has managed to pick up that next spot. Boy, he is just setting sail right now.
Yeah, he's passed both of the Mustangs there. You can see him in front of Ernie Francis Jr. Jack Roush still behind him. So he is definitely a man on the move. He's now up to the top 8. And the next man to be his target will be Brett Sandberg, who's currently second in the championship. Came into this race weekend with the championship lead, but has had a problematic weekend in terms of the car not running correctly and not the setup not being exactly how he wants it either.
You know, you got just an awesome combination here, don't you? You got a car that's ideally suited to the track, a driver who knows the track intimately, and also a driver who in another series, especially one year in particular, was an absolute pole machine, so you know he's fast.
Yeah, he's got the speed, that's for sure. The problem he's got a big gap between he and the leader right now by having that stall at the start and having to fight his way through this pack. But have a quick look when the timing and scoring refreshes here to see what sort of lap times that Buford is running.
Sorry, Mantella just showed the nose on Roush heading into turn 1. And you can pass into one, but you've got to be cleanly past that car by the time you get into it, because it isn't a tight, hard-braking left. It's a quick entry, isn't it?
You roll a lot of speed through there. Certainly you control the speed on entry, but then you just whistle through. There's a lot of grip. There's compression at the bottom. Look at Jack Roush Jr. there, just tucking that Mustang to the inside, looking for a way by. What a battle this has been. And certainly Anthony Mantella has got a great seat to look at this.
Yeah, and Jack, it's fun because he's attacking. He's a smart driver, though. He attacks on Ernie, but he always has a little bit of an eye to his mirror, and when he needs to, he'll go to the wrong part of the track to make sure that Mantella can't get through. You're allowed to do that. You just can't make a move in reaction to the driver coming up behind you. If you do that, that's considered a block, yes?
Absolutely. You've just got to, pick your line. Don't be moving around. I mean, I think the race directors this year are doing a tremendous job in trying to keep these races as clean as possible, and everyone's respecting them, and you can see it in the driving standards out here today.
Ooh, a lot of different lines there as people are trying to figure out exactly what to do.
Look at Mantella there. He feels he can roll some speed. Maybe think about going around the long way around, the rim shot around the outside there of turn 14 to make a move on Jack Roush Jr. This front straightaway, though, the Mustang just pulled a couple of car lengths there. That will be frustrating for Anthony Mantella. The Crossbows did get a little BOP, balance of performance adjustment, since the last round, so that could be hurting them here a little bit.
By the way, getting an update from the pits that Dora Japanik retired. It was gearbox problems, but, Cal, it was a gearbox issue facilitated and created apparently by a problem with that ECU, so the electronics continue to be a problem, at least, and ironically, for the Racer's Edge team, which is the North American supplier, or the U.S. supplier now. Oh, look at this.
That was easy.
Yeah.
Sandberg's not going to give it to him. I thought, yeah, he's through.
Yeah.
Buford pulled alongside really early, but then Sandberg took that crossbow deep into the brake zone for turn 7.
Yeah, I saw a debris flag entering that corner. I wonder if somebody just pulled some junk up onto the track running over those curbs. That happens sometimes.
Well, this place does look like Augusta in terms of how well. Oh, look at Jack Roush Jr. there, really sideways. Cool stuff.
Doing everything he can. And like I said, Cal, I mean, he wants to get by Ernie, but he knows.
Look at him. He can literally put all 4 wheels up on that curb with the compliancy that they have set into that Mustang.
And right in this section of track, there's no question Mantella carries a lot more speed. He's just got nowhere he can go with it.
No, he can't drive over the top of, and then he's going to get frustrated here when he gets on this front straightaway. The Mustangs just pull him a little bit. So I think on open track, Mantella would be much quicker than these guys, but just can't do anything about it.
Yeah, this is a track notoriously difficult. I mean, it was really designed for motorcycle racing, so it's considered a bit difficult for cars in terms of passing, especially if you're in a car with aero. Whoa, Sandberg, big off by Brett. Boy, and this is
I'm not sure he hit anything.
Yeah, what a weekend for the points leader coming in.
He said sometimes it's about damage control, and you can't get frustrated or you can't get involved in situations like this, because at the end of the day, let's take another look here. Well, he just loses it. Got a little bit sideways, corrected it, and just ran out of road.
Lucky to miss those bundled tires there.
Yeah.
So no damage on the car, but lost a lot of track position and points. Now, at least he was showing pace, though.
He was. I mean, that looks like they made a little bit of progress with the setup, with the changes they made last night with the shocks and everything else. But even so, this will be a frustrating weekend for them. And we really thought that crossbow could do very, very well here on this Barber Motorsports track with the flowing nature and the GT4 platforms creating a lot of downforce.
Sorry, folks, a little quick chat with the producer here. Got a little bit more time before we come back to our CBS Sports coverage. And this is going to get interesting, Cal, because now they're coming up with some traffic.
Yeah, this is going to be great to see how they deal with this. Parker Chase there has been a great run in the 4th spot.
And I think they're coming up on Aline Cipriani, again making her debut. And nice job there as Lawson able to get through, but he lost some time.
Heckert's really close.
Yeah.
Heckert has got that gap down to within a second now on our leader, and we suggested that Sin car had the speed to maybe chase him down. And the question is going to be how much of the cars Lawson had to use up to maintain the lead of this race.
Yeah, and I think Lawson got bottled up behind Aline, and that cost him dearly. Boy, that's frustrating, isn't it? When you've worked hard, take care of the tires, be smooth, have that margin, and it suddenly evaporates in traffic. And Heckert now, he's got the bit in his teeth. And now the next group that's got to get around Aline is the battle for the podium, Dullahite and Parker Chase. We're going to stop and come back here in just a moment on CBS Sports. Welcome back to Barber Motorsports Park. Onto the front straight. Here comes your leader. And, folks, it's a little bit of a different dynamic in traffic while we were in break. Heckert now right on the 6 of Lawson Aschenbach as they head down into turn 1.
Well, his teammate got the debut win for the Sin chassis yesterday, Jay Buford. He's making big moves through the field. Buford, after the stall from the pole, is up to the 6th position, but it's his teammate, Scott Heckert, now putting the pressure on Aschenbach for the lead.
And working some traffic, that little bit of a move there. Heckert going to get through, but here is a big move here. This is how Jade Buford coming up through the pack was able to make up a couple of key moves, Cal.
Well, he's shown tremendous pace. He had the pole sitting time and then had the fastest race lap with the win here yesterday, but just been making brilliant moves all the way around this racetrack as he carves his way through the field.
And so that's how we made up those two spots. And a big moment here for our points leader coming in, who's been having a weekend, Cal, and it went wrong.
Yeah, it did. I mean, they've been struggling here with a setup on the race car, and he just loses control there coming up the hill between 3 and 4. Luckily, he didn't hit anything, continues, but the frustration factor will be high right now. And there's a change for the lead.
Oh, boy, Heckert able to sneak through. That didn't take much time. Gets around Lawson Aschenbach and into the lead. And Lawson going to try and stay with him, but Lawson also needs to be thinking big picture, doesn't he? Because we don't know if this guy's going to be on board for the rest of the championship. We know Lawson is.
Yeah, and I'm certain the team will be giving him an update on where the championship competitor in terms of Brett Sandberg is in this race. You can see Lawson there. He has a lot more speed than that Sin in certain key areas, but overall, the Sin, the number 54 car, Heckert has the lead, and his teammate Buford still making big moves through the field.
Boy, that was amazing, and we understand now that it was down in our stop tech braking zone. Cal, here you go.
Well, he gets the run there and just gets it down to the inside. No problem.
Yeah, and actually that wasn't in the stop tech braking zone. We just assumed it was. That's such a key corner, and he was able to do it well before that. And now leads as we now do the run through our stop deck braking zone. But Lawson not getting too far away. And the 8 of Mantella up on the curb. He's high-sided, Cal.
Yeah, he could be. This could be a caution. Can he get moving? Has he got track? He has. He's just watching for traffic. He's in a vulnerable position there in terms of being able to have a sight line with the traffic. That's where you really need the corner workers to give you that information if you're good to go.
And right now, just to keep you in play here, Parker Chase sits 4th. 4 seconds behind him is Harry Gottsacker. A further 2 behind him is Jade Buford, as we're coming up on about 20 minutes to run in this one. That's a lot of time here that Jade still needs to make up.
Here's a look at Mantella.
Oh, the Mantella, same spot.
Yeah, he came in there with tremendous speed. I mean, I think he'd thought about the potential speed that he could carry through there, and he'd made the move around the 2 Mustangs. He got clean air and just pushed it a little bit too hard. If he could have pulled that one off, it could have been a track record because he came in there with awesome speed.
Wow, he was carrying it seriously, wasn't he? While Heckert leads, Lawson Aschenbach sits in the 2nd spot. And after yesterday's race, Lawson did go back into the points lead. And he also carries our iBox suspension cam. You take a look at that suspension here. And even though this is a smooth track, Cal, the suspension on a smooth track is hugely crucial.
It is. You've just got to get the setup right. And Lawson and his engineer, Ryan McCarthy, done a great job this weekend in getting that Z28 perfect.
And right now, it is Heckert leading over Lawson Aschenbach with that iBox suspension, and Scott Dullahite still able to hang on to 3rd from a pushy Parker Chase at this point. We'll be right back. We're back with you here on the global webcast. And, boy, I'll tell you, that move, I mean, it was almost inevitable, wasn't it? Heckert was going to find a way by at some point.
Yeah, and I think he just showed tremendous poise because he did not have a good start. He was sort of like deep in the top 10 after the first few corners and just realized I got a good car underneath me today, just take my time. And that's the same thing that's going on with our pole sitter, Jade Buford. He's now up to the 6th spot and closing in fast on Harry Gottsager for the 5th position, just half a second behind him.
Boy, yeah, Buford turning a 32-1 on that last lap to Gottsager's 34-1. So, as you said, that margin's going to evaporate in a hurry. However, Parker Chase running in the low to mid 32s, so it'll be a little tougher for Jade to get to him.
Yeah, he's some 5 seconds back too, so there's a big delta between the 4th and 5th position right now, which Jade will try and erode through the remaining time in this race. Still 20 minutes to go almost, so it's not out of play for him to make that time up.
Yeah, I just got in the background, I think, that Buford got around Gottsager. I thought I saw Jade come through first onto the front straight, so that position may have changed. Here's that battle for third, the Lotus of Dolomite. Ooh, wide line down in there by Parker Chase.
What's cool about the championship this year, though, Greg, when you look at the first 4 cars here, all very dissimilar machinery. They're running very similar lap times, so hats off to Marcus Hasselgrove and the whole technical staff here with Pirelli World Challenge in getting the BOP correct so these guys can have an even playing field to run against each other.
And again, traffic, these guys coming up on at this stage. And we'll see how Heckert deals with it here. He's answered the racecraft question, it sure seems like here, because he's been able to go through. And, I mean, he used traffic to get that close to Lawson in the first place.
He's getting parked here a little bit.
Yeah, he is. Ooh, Lawson back end. Comes around as he had to pinch it. But they clear the traffic here at this stage. Okay, and Parker, is he going to have an opportunity here in traffic? As they come up and over the rise and down into our stop tech braking zone, Dolomite looks to the inside. Nice job there by Guthrie, who he got a drive-through penalty. He was involved in a little contact earlier in the race, so he's way down the order, and that was a very nice move by him, just making sure he let those guys through. Yeah,
I think he was involved with the 16 who took that spin earlier on, so that's why he got the penalty for that. But it's great that Scott Dolomite's going to be here for the remainder of the championship.
Yeah.
Skipped the street races at St. Pete. But talking to him yesterday, so I'm really pumped. The car is good, and this is a fun championship to be involved in.
They've worked hard to put that program together, and it's great to see it come to fruition here at this stage. You know, the unfortunate thing missing at St. Pete, you miss points. And, you know, for him to have any kind of a shot at the championship, he's going to have to consistently run at the front. But from what we're seeing, that's entirely possible.
Yeah. Look at this car. That's such a beautiful chassis. Great design. Looks like a little mini McLaren that will run here later today in the GT Championship.
It's eye-catching. There's no question. And the neat thing is the engine packages in some of these GT4 cars, because of the performance of the chassis, you can run a virtually stock engine that is so cheap in terms of you don't have engine rebuilds and all of that. And I think it's a great idea.
I think almost all of the entries in this GTS field, maybe bar the Lotus, are kind of what we call crate motors, where you just literally rock up to your local dealer and buy a motor and put it in, and it's going to give you the performance we're seeing on the racetrack today. So in terms of cost efficiency and budget, it's a great program to have.
Jade Buford is sitting in that 5th spot, not quite in our shot. There he is. So, boy, he can see the back of Parker Chase right now. Yeah. Looking at some times, he just turned that last lap of 31.5, Parker at 32.8, and that margin is down to under 4 seconds now. That quick.
Yeah, I think he's going to be knocking on the door for a podium run, which will be remarkable, having A stalled and taken off behind the whole field here after the caution.
But I'll tell you, even though it's not for the front, this battle has just been entertaining here. These two Mustangs going after it. It's interesting to see Breathless Performance. I mean, they ran different manufacturers in the past, and seeing them on board now with the Mustang, and this time Mr. Roush looks to the inside, not enough there, but boy, what a battle they've been putting on consistently in entertaining for the 8th spot.
I love that section of the racetrack
yeah.
where you use all the curb coming through there through turn 7A and B. Unbelievable. Look at the race cars. Look at Ernie Francis just wringing the neck of that Mustang. Cool stuff.
This is a fun spot too. Roush a little
Roush,
wide
yeah,
there.
he got in there too deep.
That's the one thing about these cars is you can still throw these around just a little bit. Those GT4 cars, you want that platform stable, but these cars, you can rotate.
Yeah, they work in different ways and can certainly give you an advantage around a racetrack like this with these low curbs that has really been built for the use with the motorcycles here, especially that there's so much running done with. But look at this battle really heating up now. Scott Dollarhide. Have to think about Lawson Aschenbach. Is he getting any tire degradation here and late in the going? We talk about the long green flag runs and the weight of that Camaro.
Yeah, Dollarhide. Well, once you get that close, then you really start to amp it up just a little bit. Looking at Buford now, that margin, he took only that lap, just another 2/10 off coming up here. But boy, this is Heckert just getting away now. And Dollarhide's in attack mode, and I wonder, Cal, if he hasn't hit that point with these Pirelli P0s and the weight of that car where they've just lost that edge now.
Yeah, and this is where a pro like Aschenbach is going to earn his money here today. He's a GM factory driver, and right now he's going to have to really dig deep and use all of his experience and racecraft to try and keep these guys behind, because there's a huge bundle of points that you can potentially lose with Dollarhide, Chase, and now Buford very much in the picture and maybe stealing some positions away from our championship leader.
On to the front straight we go.
And there you see that line that Aschenbach is using to defend.
Welcome back to the Barber Motorsports Grand Prix presented by Porsche, round 6 of the Pirelli World Challenge GTS Championship. And Mr. Heckert, Scott Heckert in that number 54 Sin R1, opening the margin up just a little bit. And the reason, Cal, is this battle for second is Scott Dollarhide has either found speed or Lawson's lost some.
I think Lawson has lost a little bit. We talk about the long green flag run here in GTS competition. That is now coming into play. The weight of that Camaro has really used those tires up a little bit more than his competitors. Lawson's going to have to dig deep, earn his money. Look in the background. Here comes Jay Buford.
And here comes Dollarhide. He's around the outside. It's going to be tough. Made it work.
Beautiful move. Awesome racing there.
Just had the run, got around the outside. And I think Lawson is going, I don't want to give up points here.
We've got to be careful.
Jade,
you want to hang on, Greg,
right.
But you don't want to get too much argy-bargy here and suddenly find yourself in the fence. That would turn the tables in terms of Brett Sandberg, who's not having the best of days, getting back in the points. Look how much of the curb that Camaro can run through that section there. Incredible.
Yeah, it just eats it, doesn't it? No question. And Jade Buford.
Parker Chase
Whoa!
looks to the inside. He's looking feisty. And Buford has now caught this group.
Again, Chase tightens that entry up just a little bit.
Look at Jade. He gets a great exit, great shot on the front straightaway. He's going to look to the inside. He's got the momentum. He's alongside Chase. Can he take Aschenbach too? 2 for 1. Up to the third position goes Jade Buford.
And makes it stick. Lawson floats wide. Nothing Parker could do at that stage. Boy, that just tells you about how swift that car is through these fast corners. That exit speed was phenomenal.
It was unbelievable. He set it up perfectly. Really late apex onto the front straightaway through the final turn, turn 15. He's now up into the top 3. We talked about a podium run. He's there already. Can he chase down Scott Dollarhide, who runs second in the Lotus, and his teammate Scott Heckert, who leads this race?
Wow, settling in here now. That's tough for Aschenbach. The battle will be for fourth between Aschenbach and Parker Chase. By the way, we want to remind you, if you're like us, big fans of the series, who's not, you always want to know what's going on. There's an easy way to do it through our social media outlets. First place to go is the Pirelli World Challenge site at world-challenge.com. Got some good video content there, as well as live links, or links to the live webcast. You can also go, of course, to Facebook. Just search the Pirelli World Challenge Championship fan page. And on Twitter, just look for the handle at WC Racing. And for all things racing, take a moment and check out Motor Trend On Demand, which includes the archives of all the Pirelli World Challenge races. You can start your free trial at motortrendondemand.com today.
Look at Jay Buford. He has really just eaten into the gap between he and what is the second place runner at the moment, Scott Dollarhide.
Well, this is going to be a pretty amazing story here. I mean, he's already podium, but look
Look
at
at
that.
the move by Aschenbach. He's allowed to do that. You just got to stay there. He can't really drift back too much. He can't take away the outside lane.
Yeah, I think his argument was, well, he was alongside me, so I wasn't doing anything.
Oh, chasing really deep there. Little slide. He's wringing the neck of that Ginetta. But Jade Buford, he'll go from frustration with the stall to pure joy in driving his way through this field. He's on the podium run right now. He wants more.
Well, what an amazing story it will be.
To the
He is
inside of the
tacking
stop tech
again.
brake zone. He's able to tighten up the exit of that corner and keep the grip and balance in the car. He
still
still has
has-
so much
He
downforce.
still has the better part of 10 minutes to do something here, and he decides, I'm not going to wait. Boy, and that's where Dullahite made that great pass on Aschenbach, and then he gets served one coming in by this guy.
Yeah, that Chevy's got great power there along the straightaway. Just an easy move on the Lotus. And now the only man in front of him is his teammate, who he only met here on Thursday for the very first time, is now Parker Chase. Goes the long way around. That was tight. Good, clean driving there.
Yeah, it was. Boy, aggression by that young 15-year-old, pretty impressive stuff. And Lawson, he doesn't want to lose these spots, but he doesn't want to, as you said, throw away more by fighting and ending up breaking. But this is going to be fascinating to watch here as Jade Buford gets to Mr. Heckert. Don't know that Jade's around for the championship. We know Heckert's trying to put a deal together to do that. We'll see what happens before this battle gets too furious. We're going to step away here so we can come back and take you to the finish of this 6th round of the championship. Motorsport. All right, we're in the break, folks, for CBS Sports, so we'll continue here with everybody on our global webcast. And this is going to be fascinating to see. I mean, what a great story after the huge wrecks that destroyed both cars at Circuit of the Americas. They missed St. Pete to come back here in the second race back with a 1-2 potentially. And I'm not sure yet that it's going to be Heckert.
No, I mean, Buford has certainly shown tremendous pace. How much of his car and tires have he had to use up to get to this point in the race? But, yeah, you're right. I mean, the car showed tremendous pace at Coda. I think it was Guy Cosmo did a few laps on one of the test days and laid down a really quick lap time that got everyone's attention. Oh, and the leader spins. Heckert loses control.
I saw him sideways a little bit in that previous set of corners.
Dullahite's through. Chase is through. He's dropped to 5th at least as he regroups.
Yep.
Didn't hit anything.
Oh, my.
So Jade Buford from the pole to last, back to the lead.
Well, you know, there's that other element here. We talked about the fact that he's not that familiar with ABS. He's not that familiar with Aero. Well, he's also not that familiar with Pirelli P0s and how they work and change as the race unfolds.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the racecraft. He's in the lead. He could see that bright red sister car coming up on him. He's probably digging a little bit deeper. Asked a bit too much of the car there and just lost the rear end. Quick spin, stayed on the racetrack. Could have potentially flat spotted a tire, but continues in the 5th position.
So Jade Buford, well, up and into the lead. Last to first from first on the grid. That's just an amazing story.
It will have been a fun ride for that young man today. He said driving into this facility this morning, you've got to be pumped. You see that ribbon of racetrack and the beautiful environment this racetrack sits in. Here's another look at the replay.
He just got more of that curb than he needed, huh?
Yeah, he just used a bit more of the curb potentially. That may have unsettled the car a little bit and just turns it around. Oh, that was close there. One of the cars flying through.
So now he's just trying to gather things back up, see what he can do. I mean, he still has an opportunity here. We've got 6 minutes remaining.
About 4 seconds behind Lawson Aschenbach. So can he regroup and get back on the podium, but time is running out.
Buford now with that marginette with Dullahite second and Parker Chase. That battle hasn't changed at all. They're still right there. Boy, and Harry Gottsacker's picking it up. Now he's got an opportunity with Heckert. He's right there.
Yeah, I think Heckert may have lost a bit of pace here.
I wonder if he had, the car set up where it was good early, and sometimes the track goes away from you late in the race.
That's potential, but he seemed to be holding Jade Buford at bay there for that lap and a half or so once Buford got up to the second position. I think it was just a little error there, just eating too much of the curb through that high-speed stuff, unsettled the race car and turned him around. This is a little great battle here.
Parker's going to try and do it.
Down to the inside. That is for second position right now. What a move by the Ginetta driver, and Dollarhide really wide on the exit.
Well, I think that's going to anger Dollarhide. He gave Parker lots of room when he made the move down there and then got none on the exit of that turn. And he was around the outside there. So now we'll see what happens. But again, newly crowned Ginetta factory driver, Parker Chase, doing a nice job here. And this might put the team in a bit of a conundrum about, does he go after the Global Rallycross Lights title, or does he now, with some good points, maybe stay right here in this championship? All right, folks, in just a minute, we're going to come back with our CBS Sports coverage and take you right to the finish of this one, so enjoy. Welcome back, everybody. New leader, his name is Jade Buford, your pole sitter, who by the end of the third corner was dead last and has fought his way back up into the lead. Parker Chase has gone through and picked it up, and here's what happened. Your leader, his teammate Scott Heckert, just too much curb, Cal?
Yeah, I think he just used a little bit more curb than we've been seeing, Greg, and it just unsettled the car enough for him to lose the rear end as he exited the corner. And you can see there, it was really close there. I think that was Scott Dollarhide trying to thread the needle. And I think it's really unsettled here. Scott Heckert, who now is under pressure from Harry Gottsacker for the 5th position.
Harry trying to just drive around the outside. It's a long way to go. It's a matter of what he can do here now, up and over this rise. Not quite close enough, doesn't look like.
So for John Meraki, at one point there, he got the first win, the debut win in Pirelli World Challenge with Jade Buford. Looked like it was going to be a 1-2, but it's gone away. Jade Buford continues to lead, going for a clean sweep here at Barber. But this is a fierce little battle here for a top 5 position.
Yeah, I mean, it was only his teammate Heckert who was the other driver to get below a 131 so far in this race, but Buford at 30.3. That is a wicked quick lap. You can see the margin. He continues to open up now over Parker Chase. Dollarhide third. And Parker got a great move down into our stop tech braking zone, down to the inside, and then made sure Dollarhide couldn't do anything with him on the exit. He ran him right to the curb and more. And Dollarhide now back into third. Some
really exciting young drivers in this championship, though, when you look at guys like Parker Chase, just 15 years old. And we've got a couple of other 16-year-olds in the field as well. This is the future of our sports car championship right now, and it's looking really good.
Boy, and the nicest thing right now, I think, for Lawson Aschenbach is there's nothing in his mirrors.
Yeah, but he expected this. I mean, he was pretty blunt about the fact this car is super heavy, like 900 pounds heavier, I think it is, than the Ginetta. He said, I'm going to struggle on the long green flag run. That's exactly what we saw. He took off at the start, got the clean run to the first corner, opened the gap, tried to control the pace. I mean, he's a savvy driver.
Yes, he is.
Oh, he sees that Ernie France is off to the right.
It's either Ernie or his teammate Dave Reese. Can't quite pick up the number.
But for Aschenbach, it was a long day, and now he's dropped back to the 4th position. The good news is the man who's closest to him in the championship coming in was Brett Sandberg.
Here's the pass for second by Chase.
Down in our stop tech brake zone. He turns the wheel. He is fighting it coming off and uses all of the road. Didn't trade any paint, but he certainly didn't give Scott Dollarhide a lot of room there.
So that was what promoted Chase into the second spot. Dollarhide dropped off a bit, but he turned a lap. It was a couple of tenths quicker than Chase that last lap. So as we're coming up here, we're anticipating the white flag. One more lap to go by the time they get to the start-finish line. Does Dollarhide have an answer at this stage? But Jade Buford, he has just completed the package in this car.
Yeah, and I think for the whole team, they'll be looking to find a way to get this man back behind the wheel, because you talk about the next race track, Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. This car should fly around that place.
Yeah, they're going to have to do something, I would think, because talk about a track that, as you said, this car will excel on. Final lap, white flag out. The official margin at the line, Jade Buford to Parker Chase, 3 seconds. Then Dollarhide, another 1.8 seconds behind at this stage. And Jade Smith looking in the mirrors, but here, this isn't quite done yet. It's the battle for the final spot in the top 5. And Heckert and Gottsacker switching it back and forth here.
Looking deeper in the top 10, Jack Roche Jr. has got around Ernie Francis Jr., as has Kevin Marshall. So that battle finally swung in favor of Jack Roche Jr. between the two Mustangs.
Meanwhile, your leader, Jade Buford, nice and easy, just has that margin in hand now.
Beautiful drive.
Yeah, just tremendous drive, wasn't it?
Yeah, just executed perfectly. I mean, the car has certainly got some big advantages around this racetrack with the downforce through these high-speed corners. It's really quick. It's got good power as well with that 6.2-liter Chevy motor. So it is the total package with the team and the driver as well.
So, working through the final couple of corners, Jade Buford completing the Cinderella story weekend and a fairy tale of a race, quite honestly. This is pretty special stuff. Out of turn 15, onto the front straight, completing the wind sweep. And from the pole, although he was last by the first turn, what a day for Jade Buford. The Sin R1 GT4 doubles up at the Barber Motorsports Grand Prix. What a story for them. Parker Chase ends up in the second spot. Scott Dullahite just couldn't quite get around him for third, and a relieved Lawson Aschenbach just takes it gently across the line here and picks up that fourth spot and some key points.
Yeah, I mean, he'll smile. He'll be a little frustrated. He wanted to go for the win and a podium run at least, that being Lawson Aschenbach. But the man knows how to win championships. He's won 4 before in Pirelli World Challenge, 2 in this class alone. So he realizes some days you just got to take what the track will give you, and he'll move on to the next event.
And we're going to move on. We're going to step away for just a minute. But when we come back, we'll hear from our double winner here, Jade Buford. What a story it is. Stay with us.
Well, what a great race. And you heard the folks from the Pirelli World Challenge talk about it. You know, we have a winner in Buford who can't start on the first lap by from the standing start, which is really exciting to watch. But yet he fights his way back and comes back to win the race. What a great outing for this young man, and shows some real talent in taking that car to victory lane. We're going to be going there momentarily.